the Cornerman Radio. Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence, man. We just saw Errol Spence and Keith Thurman beside each other on Showtime. Now, my thing about Keith Thurman with Errol Spence, man, he doesn't seem like he's gonna fight him, and I don't see the boxing media really talking about this fight. Like, the winner of Kell, Brook, and Errol Spence should fight Keith Thurman next. But I don't see Keith Thurman willing to fight them guys next, especially if it's going to be Spence. Nah, I don't see. Every time Keith Thurman puts somebody asks him a question about Errol Spence, he be like, the kid is not ready, or yeah, someday in the future we might fight, you know what I mean? I just don't see him fight Errol Spence till the late of 2018. Now, I wish Keith Thurman would say, yo, I'll fight him next. I wish Errol Spence, while he was beside of him, he should have said, yo, Keith Thurman, are you going to fight me once I beat Kell Brook? That's what he should have asked Keith Thurman, right there in front of him. Should have, you know what I mean? Because the only way Keith Thurman is going to be willing to fight you, you got to force him. You got to make him mad to where he just stop thinking and he just go with his heart and what's bothering him at the moment. And that's the only way he's going to fight Spence. You got to force Keith Thurman to fight you. You got to make him mad. That's the only way I see Keith Thurman fighting him. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's going to be pulling teeth with Keith Thurman and Errol Spence, man. That's why I really don't want to see Errol Spence win this Kell Brook fight, because this is it's just going to be a lot of bullshit, a lot of excuses why we can't see Errol Spence and Keith Thurman. You know what I mean? Keith Thurman would jump for Manny Pacquiao, but when it comes to Errol Spence, it's like, no. He going to have a title. Say he wins the fight. He has a title now. Now, what Keith Thurman going to say? You know what I mean? You jumped for Manny. This guy has a strap. You can be a 3-time world champion with 3 straps. He's 3 unified champion with the WBC, WBA, and the IBF. Why you not jumping to it? I don't even see Errol Spence beating Kell Brook, but I want you to tell me your whole dynamics on the Errol Spence and Keith Thurman, man.
Well, I'm going to keep it real with you and tell you, like, every fight has a sell-by date. And Keith Thurman and Errol Spence, the build-up for this fight is in the beginning stages, like, real early. People got to understand, Keith just fought 2 tough fights, Stone Porter and Danny Garcia. People can't expect him to get in the ring with Errol Spence anytime soon. That fight the marinade sauce just got poured on the meat. Like, you got to let that shit soak up a little. And Keith don't need to be talking anything, because Errol Spence the one that's got to go show what he could do. And you know, Keith already did his thing, and Errol Spence saw it. Now it's up to Errol Spence to go do his thing overseas, and it's up to Keith Thurman to watch. And Keith Thurman is right. Errol Spence needs to go have a couple of tough fights himself before they get in the ring. Because how fair is it that Keith Thurman just had 2 tough fights? Errol Spence got to have a tough fight, because, you know what I mean? That these fights take some toll on the body. So Errol Spence can't, you know what I mean? He got to fight a couple of tough fights. He's so fresh, physical-wise, and fresh in the game. So I don't think people should be even talking about Errol Spence and Keith Thurman right now. That fight's not ready, and that's the truth of boxing. Like, it is what it is. Keith Thurman's got options. He'll take a calm fight, And he would love to have the Manny fight. I just don't know if that fight's going to happen for him. But, hold on one second. But, yeah, Thurman, he got options before Spence. And Spence got some more options, too. Like, Spence beats Brook. It depends on how bad that fight is, like how tough that fight is. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered in that fight. Like, if Spence goes in there and plows through Brook, he has every right then and there to call out Keith Thurman. All right? If he loses, it's a wrap. We all know that. But it's like all of us fans and Keith Thurman in the front row, we just need to chill on this fight and watch Spence and all be spectators. So we all pretty much think Spence is a great fighter, very strong for this weight class. I've seen a great interview with my boy John Scully. He said it like Spence is abnormally strong for the weight class, and it couldn't be said better. He is, man. And that's what I got. Like, pump the brakes. And I'm telling you, too, pump the brakes. No need for Errol Spence and Keith Thurman right now. You know what I mean? That fight, there's a lot of things have to go right before they make that fight. There's other options for Keith.